or even if you've got an account that you've been running, campaigns you've been running for a year, 3 years, 5 years, it's always good to just do a checklist of, okay, tick, we're not doing that, tick, we're not doing that, oh, we are doing that, maybe we need to look into that a little bit. Welcome everybody to another episode of the PPC Cave with me, Ryan Fenton, and my co-host, Gene Villanos. What episode are we on, Gene? I forget. Is it one?
We're on 105.
105, nice. And today we're going to be talking about, I think it's bad lead gen, or lead gen done wrong in Google Ads. So we've got a really fun-packed episode to go through about that. But before we get into it, Gene, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Excited to do another video with my co-host Ryan here. So I can't complain. The weather is getting better. But yeah, it's
Hell yeah.
been really nice. What about you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I've been trying to do what you've been doing the past few weeks and months, man the channel a little bit, put more content out as well. So hopefully that's kind of helped you a little bit. But yeah, the weather here in the UK has been nice as well. So it's spring has sprung, as they say, and I'm actually getting a bit of a tan. So I'm happy about
Nice, nice. Yeah, so if you want to see Ryan's tan, make sure that you're jumping
that.
on YouTube, jumping on Spotify video. And I do want to add, Ryan did release a great video last week. If you haven't taken a look, go back and look at that. It's really important that we, keep an ear to the ground when it comes to these automated things such as AI Max or just some of the machine learning stuff Google is doing. Is it beneficial for us? And he goes through those things. So, but yeah, before we get any further, I do want to talk about Opteo. Opteo is our sponsor. You can go in our description, www.opteo.com/theppccave, where you can upgrade your regular 14-day trial to a 28-day trial. Just hit the chat box and let them know that you heard from the PPC Cave. And Opteo is doing a lot of awesome things. They're really expanding the platform that they currently have. Back then, it was only Google Ads and Microsoft Ads. Now it's LinkedIn ads, TikTok ads, Meta ads, and all these in aggregate will be under one platform, one dashboard that's easily seen and used, and it's not as, I would say, confusing as the native dashboards that you would get. And they're doing a lot with AI. A lot of the times, when I get on Opteo before, it would just kind of be a little bit more mechanical, but now there's more interaction of what data reports you would like through AI. I just went through today for some clients and typed in their competitors, typed in all these different things to kind of give Opteo a little bit more background and context of what this account goal is actually. So I can't talk much about it, but they are doing all of new things in the upcoming months also. So it's a good chance for y'all to check it out. So yep, go to our description, www.opteo.com/theppck. But yes, Ryan is right. Lead gen Google Ads done wrong. Do you want to take that first point real quick, Ryan?
We can. I'm just going to quickly say how nice are the guys at Opteo. They're giving us that amazing offer, and we've been with them for a while now. And just for the people listening in or watching in, I mean, if you can comment or something on the YouTube video or whatever, if you want to see Shakira or one of the guys from Opteo back on the PPCK for another episode, just let us know, and you can even email in, theppccave@gmail.com. Send us an email saying, yeah, we'd really like to see Shakira or one of the guys Opteo back on the cave, and we'll get them on. So, but lead gen done wrong in Google Ads. And the first point that my co-host has kindly put on the notes is bad conversion tracking. So bad lead tracking. Before I give my thoughts, Gene, let's hear from you first in terms of your thoughts.
Yeah, and this kind of stems from what we usually do, where we see something in real life and then we tend to want to talk about it. And I saw this with my own two eyes, where a very high spending client of mine was doing an audit for and didn't have any conversion tracking set up, and the only conversion tracking was removed. And I looked previously, and it was like all these page views, and I know y'all are probably super tired of us talking about conversion tracking, but we only talk about it because we still see it. And I think I kind of look at these accounts and I'm like, why do they do that? Do they just like see all those codes on GTag or Google Tag Manager and just throw their hands up and be like, I don't want to deal with this. Let's just, I don't have time for this, you know? But yeah, please always have your conversion tracking set up, not only set up, but mirroring what you as a business owner that owns a service here in lead gen, what you deem as an actual conversion. Because a lot of the times you're going to get all these random things set up on the back end of Google Ads. You know, you'll see YouTube hosted or Google hosted, and then it has nothing, not does not correlate with what you're actually deeming as a conversion. So understand that that is first and foremost. If you do not have this set up, you will not just miraculously get all these submit forms and qualified leads. You will be spending and not getting anything. Yeah, so that's kind of my initial thoughts. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I don't want to say too much. I mean, I'm conscious of time, and before we jumped on, Gene was saying that this is going to be a quick episode, and I want to keep it that way. I want to be, what's the word, mindful of your time. So I'm just going to
No,
quickly
we're
say
good.
that I'm going to quickly say, it's 2026, and a lot of businesses still don't have conversion tracking inside their accounts, and they don't know how to nail it down. And it's just one of those, and I think it will always be one of those issues where people just don't really know what to do. But you think about back in the old days of Google Ads, we never really had conversion tracking. We would just monitor clicks. So it was just the norm probably for however many years, 3 to 5 years, I think it was. And then obviously conversion tracking coming in, gives us a bit more of an indication of KPIs and what's actually working, what isn't working, and things like that. So really, if if you're unsure of conversion tracking, please, number one, don't go through a Google Ads representative. They'll just have calls with you back and forth. It's a waste of time. Actually, just go to Upwork, go to Fiverr. You can find a conversion tracking specialist on there for a very great price. Believe me, it is worth it for your Google Ads account, because if you know what's working, guess what? You can put more money towards what's working, take money away from what isn't working. Best of both worlds. So you can pour more fuel on the fire. So that's my thoughts on that one. And I'm going to quickly jump in to question two, or part two, which is optimizing for the wrong goal. So this is kind of similar to conversion tracking, but let's just say you have conversion tracking set up in some cases where Gene and I have e-commerce accounts. Maybe people are optimizing for add to carts, begin checkouts, and purchases. Or maybe they're optimizing for lead forms, but actually they want to optimize for sales. So, Gene, talk us through that.
Yeah, and it's very common just because if you don't have conversion tracking, you probably aren't going to understand that there is even anything like optimizing for the wrong goal, because you don't even know what a goal is. So it's very, like Ryan said, hinged upon almost the conversion tracking also, that point. And it's really easy if you're doing lead generation for, if you have secondary and primary conversions that aren't really attributed correctly. You might have a primary conversion that should be a secondary action conversion, a secondary action conversion as primary, such as YouTube subscriptions. I've seen people have YouTube subscriptions be the goal that's being optimized for, just because I see it in the campaign and I see 30 YouTube subscriptions where in general they're talking to me, they want form submits, but the form submit is secondary action, or the form submit is just not getting any traction at that point. Even if they were both, now I'm getting a little technical, but even if they were both primary actions, and you see YouTube being just kind of like the bulk of your conversions and zero form submits, I wouldn't be against testing and seeing, okay, what if we take that YouTube subscription or the lesser goal out and just try to have a signal just for form submit. That doesn't work every time, just because sometimes there's conversion actions that hinge upon, say like a YouTube subscription might hinge upon a form submit, but if you have zero, you can't get worse than that. So but yeah, definitely agree, that it's very much so related.
Nice, cool.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't really have any points on that, so I think you kind of covered that correctly. Quick swig of the Mountain Dew there. Not a sponsor, by the way, so we should be covering that. We
It's
should
diet.
blur that out. It's a diet. It says Badger on it or something, or Baja. I don't
Baja
know.
Blast.
Oh,
Baja
nice. What's it
Blast. Did
taste
you guys
like?
have that? It tastes like Mountain Dew, but like more like, I don't know, artificial. It's so bad
Yeah.
for you, but I'm addicted. Not gonna lie.
So we got it over here, and we've also got what's the Gatorade as well, but like it's probably not the same. You know, we look at you get the UK
Yeah,
Fanta and the US Fanta is two different colors, so it's probably different. But yeah, Mountain
probably,
Dew is
but
very
it's really
sugary.
good.
Um, yeah.
It is.
Anyway, poor keyword strategy. So I think that's the next point. Let me just quickly check.
Yes.
Yeah, poor keyword strategy. So obviously we're talking, you know, what keywords you're bidding on, what type of match types, as well as maybe not really using negative keywords. So do you want to take that as
Mhm.
well?
Yeah. So with poor keyword strategy, I see this all the time where you have a automated bid strategy, right? And maybe like max conversions, and you're doing lead gen. So it's not like e-commerce where you want one model part number or very descriptive type of search term. Lead gen is almost like you don't know what you don't know. You could have a geolocation inside a search term. You could have the word company instead of contractor. There's all these different options. But I believe if you're running, and this is kind of we kind of flip the script here, because I was a very automated, um, you know, before I met Ryan. And Ryan is super manual, but I think it's just from the backgrounds that we've kind of come across. But now that I'm doing more lead gen, it's important to understand that you might have poor keyword strategy because you're running an automated campaign, and that automated campaign is only testing one keyword or testing two keywords, while you have all a slew of all these other keywords that could be tested, but you deferred to an automated bid strategy. So there's no way for that campaign with that bid strategy to test evenly all throughout your keyword list. So I think in this case, it's probably better for you to test manual a bid strategy, or maybe go ahead and just leave that campaign with the keywords that are currently showing a lot, you know, if it's good cost per conversion or conversion volume, and create another campaign that's just manual, because you're not going to get that evenly rotated keyword on an automated bid strategy, especially if it's had conversions, or that keyword has had conversions in the past, or even if it doesn't have conversions. Sometimes it'll just get stuck in a loop and you're showing for one keyword. So it's really about being able to rotate evenly through a manual CPC bid strategy, in my opinion. So, any thoughts on that, Ryan, or any thoughts on this point in general?
Yeah, a couple of things. I think I'm testing something at the moment similar to what I do in e-commerce, where I've actually identified a keyword that has had a couple of conversions. And so what I've done is I've kept that keyword in the campaign, and then I've pulled all the other keywords out that haven't had
Mm.
any conversions and put them in a separate campaign. So I've got one campaign spending budget on basically two keywords that have had conversions, and then the rest testing again, because those two keywords have had conversions. So, you know, it makes sense to kind of test them or keep them intact and test the rest. So I'm trying that at the moment. I'll kind of give the results when I have it. But stay tuned on the PPC Cave as well, by the way, because I plan on doing a episode in the near future about how to do negative keywording like a pro. So I'm going to take a deep
Mm.
dive, probably a screen share of how to do that, because we're going to make use of things like the keyword planner and identify negative keywords in there, as well as your search terms report, as well as building out a negative keyword list. So that'll be coming up.
Nice.
But yeah, I think that's something to consider as well, is making sure that you are staying on top of the search terms, adding negative keywords, and building out a negative keyword list so that you're not constantly adding the same negatives over and over again, but you're making it evergreen so that you only look at it once, add it in a list, and then you don't really have to look at it again. So that's what I would say on that. I'm going to try and keep the gravy train. You say that? Gravy train rolling? I don't really know
Gravy
if that
train,
makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But weak landing pages. And then we've got here, I don't know if this is an internal note or not, I might not say it, but third party on page or full website. So I'm just reading out all the show
Yeah.
notes.
No, that makes that you're leading me into the perfect conversation. I'm going to ask you this. So for
Okay.
weak landing pages, of course, right? That's definitely a given. That's probably why you're doing lead gen Google Ads wrong. But if it does have all that you need, all the badges, all the credibility, the right keywords that we're going after, your services, your offerings, but it's hosted on a third party um, website or type of CRM. Do you like those landing pages versus just a native website, embedded in the actual full website where the client or customer can browse? Or do you like those? Here is 80 or no, here's like 10 different name, email, next, 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 and it's just one page. So which one do you prefer, Ryan? Just
Are you
curious.
saying do I prefer landing pages over websites, or are you saying in terms of the funnel system in place, like a form?
Yeah, yeah. So basically a third party page, just third party landing page, or the full website,
Oh,
the landing
okay.
page on a full website,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
yeah.
subdomain hosted type of thing versus a full website.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm a big fan of landing pages and having a like singular funnel, if you will.
Okay.
I'm actually reading Russell Brunson's .com Secrets at the moment. So, for those who have read it, it's a great book. If you haven't, check it out. It's a really good book. I'm halfway through. And in it, he talks about the importance of, landing pages and funnels and taking people through that process. And it's something that I'm currently doing with side business, or something that I'm trying to work on at the moment a little bit. Um, but saying that anyway, really, really key to take people through that systematic approach of, where, um, why they've reached the landing page, what resonates with them, buyer decision questions, FAQs, pain points, hitting all those spots, which you can't necessarily do on a website. The other thing I would say, unless it's e-commerce, is what is really the point of a website? And this is something that Russell Brunson talks about in his book, is that, back in the day, people would just sell websites and that became the thing. But what is a website at the end of the day? What is it used for? It's just kind of like a
Mm,
brochure, maybe. It's just like brand, it's just presence. Does it really sell people? I don't know. It's too generic, unless it's e-commerce where you've got different products and things like that. In lead gen purpose, like lead gen world purposes, I don't really see the benefit of having a website. It doesn't do anything, and it doesn't really generate as many leads as a landing page can or a funnel can with a specific offer. So I'm pretty much fully against websites in lead generation world, and actually more for, if you have a singular landing page that
mm.
does what you want it to do and gets people to go through the systems and the cadence and the process of, this is the issue, we have the solution. That is way more effective than any generic website. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but that's my take.
This is a good one because I totally understand the third party on, single landers, or what I guess they would call it. But the full website on lead gen where you have, say, just the submit form as an actual, you know, page link or on the homepage where but then they could go and leave that and go browse whatever. I think it's a cop out, but I think it really does depend. If you have, so there's a couple of different lead generation clients that I could revert back to the experience of, okay, maybe a full website works if you have maybe like a longer sales cycle. I know there's over like a year sales cycle client that I have where it's B2B, especially. Maybe B2C is also a little different in regards to if you need a full website, but for at least B2B, it's just so important to have a lot of the data, maybe case studies or even previous clients on the full website where they can go and leave that third party page lander. But then again, I mean, landers nowadays have uh, complex different types of links also. It's not just literally that they can, I've seen single page landing pages that have an option go back to the homepage or the review section or even a contact us something. So but it just really depends. But I can't get out of my brain when it comes to, okay, yes, you're forcing me to go to this one landing page and I'm very relevant. But what if I don't want to take the next step because there's not enough credibility or enough wiggle room for me to click around your website to see who you are as a service or who you've served before if I'm the client that you should be serving, like a lookalike audience? Um, so it's a to be continued conversation. It really
I
just
disagree.
depends, right?
Yeah,
You disagree? Okay.
I do
Well,
disagree.
for
You're
me,
wrong.
I love it. And that's why you guys pay attention, because we're here to not always agree, you know. We're going to bring in our experience. Ryan's bringing his experience. I bring my experience. And at the end of the day, it's really what you feel like it works for you. Do you feel like what Ryan told you works for you, or, what I'm telling you works for you?
Yeah.
So,
Team UK or
um,
Team US, that's right.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's that. I think we can continue on
That's
with
a bigger
that, but maybe,
conversation. Yeah.
yeah, maybe we move on to number six. And number six is budget misallocation. Ryan, what do you think about budget misallocation for lead gen?
In terms of like, they're not spending enough, or it's on.
Yes,
Talk me through it a little bit.
absolutely. Yeah. So for me, what I always see, especially if like I've been getting a lot of home services clients lately, they're just not even in the ballpark to have multiple.
Mm.
Like, okay, like you're misallocating your budget if you think $5 a day is one campaign, search campaign, then another $10 a day is enough. Just put it all in one at least, and then see from the ad groups is like which does the cream rise to the top at that point. That's what I usually see for budget misallocation for lead
Yeah,
gen.
that's
What
a
about
good
you?
point. Yeah, 90%, maybe 80% of businesses get the budget wrong because they don't understand keyword click costs, cost per clicks, and things like that. They don't understand their
Mhm.
market, and they just think, oh, okay, well, $5 a day is what I can afford, or $10 a day is what we're spending. They're way off point. Usually it's 5x that. It could be $50 a day, it could be $75 a day, it could be more. We're not in 2005 anymore. 2008.
Mhm.
This is 2026, and you know it's competitive out there because it's proven that Google Ads works. It's where you know people are getting clients and people are getting sales and things like that. So of course, you need to kind of invest the money and hope to see a return. But it all kind of comes back if you have a bad website or a bad landing page and you have a really
Yeah.
good Google Ads campaign. I don't think you're really going to see results. If you have a really
Mhm.
good website or a really good landing page and a really bad Google Ads campaign, I think you can still see some results from that. So, obviously there has to be a certain structure, a certain strategy in place to see X results. But realistically speaking, I think most people underestimate how much they should be spending on Google Ads as a budget.
Yeah, absolutely. And, me and Ryan have talked about this before. Maybe we'll jump back on it again, but it's good to have an idea of how much search impression share you're getting, especially if you're beginning to see maybe you're a bit thinned out with the campaigns, and also taking a look at, search impression share loss to budget and rank. So that's a different, more technical conversation there. But I think budget misallocation for sure, where you're spreading too thin. Don't get cute. If you don't have the budget for it and you're doing lead gen, just do one search campaign. Just do one search campaign and just have two ad groups, for your main services. And then you could branch out. If you could nail that down, and if you can't nail that down, then don't expand. But if you can nail that down, then you could scale. But yeah, next is ignoring lead quality. And this kind of goes back to maybe the idea of why Ryan loves third party landing pages, or just because it's also about getting the quality type of lead, not just the volume of leads, right? So ignoring lead quality is another thing where they have just an email, just an email, and there's not enough friction to be like, okay, is this someone even in our service area, or is this someone that's just randomly putting their email because they're spam? What are your thoughts on improving or ignoring lead quality, Ryan?
Yeah, it's something I'm really big at the moment, or big on, I should say, because most generic agencies out there, as well as freelancers as well, just send low quality leads through to their clients and say, yeah, look what we've brought you. Most of the time, it's not qualified, it's low quality, it is just not fit for purpose. So, ideally, what I've been doing is putting in pre qualifying filters because you're
Mhm.
turning away 80% of people. I'm not going to lie, you're going to turn away a lot of people when you do that, because 80% is rubbish, is low quality, it is basically not fit for work. You're going to keep the
Mhm.
20%. So rather than your budget being taken up and eaten up by the 80% that are low quality, not fit for purpose, and basically rubbish, you free up your budget to spend on the 20% that, are going to give you the business that you want to see. So
Right.
it depends what you want to spend. Do you want, and it kind of goes on with budget misallocation as well as landing pages and things like that. It kind of brings everything together because you want those pre-qualifying filters in there to ensure best fit for what am I trying to say? Best fit and best alignment, basically.
Yeah.
But also having a realistic budget to go after the 20% and not just the 80%. But yeah, I've forgotten my point. I'm pretty sure I've already answered it. I'm just going to pass it over to Gene.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, and the only thing else I got to add about this is just the ignoring the lead qualities is super important. And if you have maybe like a 7-8 step form submit, I know some of these clients, they really don't want to waste time with who they're targeting. Perhaps you're not even in the service area, or if you don't want to give that information, that's fine. But a full form submit would be 7-8 steps, right? There is a way to make sure that you're on you're finding the drop off before they get to that last submit form. So I think it's super important that you get either me or Ryan to help y'all do Google Ads, because one person that is a freelancer will probably be like, yep, it's all or nothing here. You can only get a submit form and that's it. No, there's ways where it's not going to be shown on Google Ads, but it's on Google Analytics where you could see, okay, they filled out name and email and address, but they dropped off at this stage. Name, email, address, and zip code, but they dropped off at this stage. So those upstream incomplete form submits are also very, very important, that can help you understand, is my ads bringing in high quality? Are they getting through 6 steps of the 8 step funnel, or are they dropping off after the first step, or just name or email? So that could be done also. Final point is Performance Max misuse. I want to ask you, Ryan, do you use Performance Max for lead gen? And I have a feeling I know the answer, but we can have another debate.
um, I don't know what the right answer is here. Yes and no. So, ideally, no. I don't want to use Performance Max. I want to use a search campaign for lead generation clients. That would be my ultimate go-to most of the time. There's maybe two scenarios why I'd probably use Performance Max if the search campaign approach hasn't worked and it's a Hail Mary, as you guys say in the US, a last ditch attempt. I will probably turn on Performance Max just to see, okay, how does this perform? The only other way I would use Performance Max is if I've had a successful search campaign and, we've tried different things. Maybe we've got a successful search, we've got dynamic search ads campaign running. We've maybe got whatever it might be, right? And then I want to just test a Performance Max campaign in that environment with its own budget, just to kind of see, what display looks like, what Gmail may look like, what the other platforms inside Performance Max actually look like in terms of this successful account. Can we pick up any more leads or customers through a Performance Max? So those are really the only two scenarios where I would use Performance Max in a lead gen account. But honestly, 90% of the time, I start with search campaign, and I get way better results. What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Absolutely. Yeah, yes, I agree. Because you didn't just say no, so yes, I agree. I agree. Yeah. And so I do want to put this in the video description. I want to put the episode 104, the one that Ryan did last week. We need to talk about AI Max. But to answer this question, I also want to put episode 84, where I talk about using PMax for lead generation, ? And here's what my take is from the experience that I have for lead generation Performance Max. Never, ever, ever use just Performance Max for lead gen. Never, ever, ever. you always have a search campaign. I do think Performance Max can work in some areas. One of the areas in lead generation that I believe it can work in is if you have a thriving YouTube channel where you're maybe a roofing contractor, or maybe you're trying to show people manufacturing tools that are have a long sales cycle, and you have data on your YouTube channel. Because what that does, if you're able to put those in your asset groups for Performance Max, they type in a keyword that's high funnel, broad. They could be retargeted using YouTube, and most of the time, that really works just because it's like providing less of just text, but providing more of that video aspect or explainer video of what your services are, and are those people perfect for your services. So that's the first step. And second step, if you also have any other imagery, say you have just saw your cat, my dog just
Thank you.
actually came by also. And so those are the two things that I would really, really harp on. And never, ever, ever, when you're doing Performance Max for lead gen, have it higher than about 5% of your budget, total budget. I have just a $5 to $10 a day that runs, and it just continue to runs. And yeah, that's when I would use Performance Max, but I could get deeper into that. But check out episode 84, and we'll type that in our video description. Any final thoughts, Ryan, about lead gen, Google Ads done wrong?
I think we've covered a lot of different bases here. I think there's a lot more we could be talking about and discussing. I think we have some time constraints because you're a busy chap, and things like that. And I don't want to keep you too much, but I think we've covered the top level kind of stuff. I think for each of these verticals and points that we've discussed, you could go and have a 10, 15 to 30-minute conversation easy in any of these, especially landing pages. I think there's something a lot more we could talk about in terms of websites and landing pages further down the line, but I'm pretty happy. I think, if you're looking for a top level perspective on, lead gen done wrong and what you should really look out for just beginning with, or even if you've got an account that you've been running, campaigns you've been running for a year, 3 years, 5 years, it's always good to just do a checklist of, okay, tick, we're not doing that, tick, we're not doing that. Oh, we are doing that. Maybe we need to look into that a little bit and figure it out. So I think we're leaving people with some good value.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is essentially a checklist here. But yeah, I think Ryan is right. We could continue to go on about this. But as Ryan is right also about me, I am a busy chap. But we're both busy chaps, and we have a whole other life outside of Google Ads in the PPC Cave. But yeah, any final thoughts, Ryan, before we sign off?
It's great to have another episode with you. I think what we're trying to do at the moment is do one a month. And I think so far we're on track. I know we're only 3 months into the year, but I think we've done 3 joint episodes so far, which is really good. So I'm going to be posting a lot more content as well, and I hope you are as well. Trying to build a bit of a bank as well. But yeah, I think we're in a good position with the cave, and good episode as always. That Opteo offer is amazing, and I think you should close out with that.
Yeah, for sure. Ryan is right. We will have more episodes and more joint episodes to come. We are still happy that Opteo is our sponsor. You could go into our video description or podcast description, www.opteo.com/the PPC Cave. Upgrade your regular 14-day trial to a 28-day trial on Opteo, the best PPC, Google Ads, freelance software, in my opinion. We release every Monday, 12 a.m. Mountain Time, wherever that is. And Ryan, where can they find you? Are we keeping that low key for now?
You could just shoot me an email, ryan@ryanfentonppc.co.uk, or as the Americans say, .co.uk, I've heard now. But what I really like is that you're saying you're building that into your thing now, of like wherever that is, because I've always said that about where Mountain Time is up a mountain somewhere, but I like the fact that you're building that into your sign off. Do you say that in the middle of the night? Do you wake up at 3 a.m. doing the Opteo sign off? Like, start your 28-day trial? Yeah, I can imagine.
I've
It's like
memorized
ingrained in
it.
you now. Yeah, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It's kind of like
Sorry.
it's like a lyric. No, you're good. Yeah, we've been doing this for 105 episodes, so there's some things that it's just like it just rolls off the tongue, right?
It's great. It's really good.
That's one of them. But yeah, and we're gonna be here. If you have any questions, theppccave@gmail.com. This is my lovely co-host Ryan, and it's me, Gene Villanos, signing off.
And where can they find you? Sorry.
They could find me at Tempest59, Tempest number 5, number 9.com. But yeah, I think that's basically it. And if there's nothing else, bye for now.